At New Balance, we believe if you run, you're a runner. However you choose to do it. Because when you're not worried about doing things the right way, you're free to discover your way. And that's what running's all about. Run your way at newbalance.com/running.
Hey Atlanta, Apple is open for small business. That's right. We're here to make starting and running your business simpler. With privacy and security built in on all devices, it's easy for you to protect your customers' data. And if you need hardware or software support, you'll get advice from business experts at no cost whatsoever. So you can focus more on the soup du jour and less on, the other stuff. At Apple, we're open for your small business. Go to apple.com/small business or visit an Apple store to learn more.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Bare naked, bare naked, bare naked. ABCs. Welcome to the Bare Naked ABCs, where we discuss every single Bare Naked Lady song from 7 to Y. What? You guys are looking at me like I'm wearing...
Tracy, why are you talking like a pirate?
Why?
Well, because this week we're talking about the song, the album "Born on a Pirate Ship."
Oh,
I didn't want to come dressed as a pile of shit, so I figured that was,
I'm not a pirate. I'm not a pirate. Yep, that's the one.
Do you guys know the other name for this album originally?
Maybe you should drive too.
Maybe you shouldn't
call an
drive.
Uber.
Maybe you
Yeah.
shouldn't drive.
Maybe you should walk.
After reconsidering it, we've decided to walk.
Gonna walk. Gonna quit.
It
That's
was
Mandy.
another really good pun. So I really wish they had waited and used it again, but I can also understand why they didn't, because it probably would have not been good. It's a little throwing it out to karma to see if karma's gonna come back at you. It was called Car Rear Ender.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Now, if you say Car
Rear
Rear
Ender.
Ender really
Mhm.
fast,
Mm-hmm.
you get Career Ender.
Career ender.
I mean, that's
still
where their
pretty
mind
clever.
was at the time, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. We've done enough albums. This is our last one. I am glad they went with Maybe You Should Drive. I mean, with Born on a Pirate Ship. But I also like the idea of Car Rear Ender after Maybe You Should Drive. Like that's a little bit of a funny, like, we're heading down this path of talking about driving.
And they would have been like the car band or something.
Yeah. Well, then after that, you got Stunt. I mean,
Right.
it would have worked.
Maroon is what happens when a red car and a blue car collide.
What a
They
maroon.
mix homogeneously.
Tracy, I'm picking up a subtle subliminal message from your screen, and the answer is yes.
It's because he's in a band.
He's the owner of a Lonely Heart.
Which one of you guys is in Atlanta? That one was a slow burn.
I thought you were
Hang on,
from Boston.
hang on, I'm sitting on something. Oh, wait, it's a lamb.
For an album that is named in jest, this is a very, very dark album.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm really sad that we don't have Aaron here tonight, because his goth child inside of him must love this album.
Oh, wait till you hear my ranking or my different order.
Oh, I am interested in that.
I would have sold that actually a little differently.
So I have not announced who is with us tonight, and I probably should. First of all, this is Tracy, and I am glad to have with me tonight Jeff, Betsy,
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
and a special guest coming back, Noah Janex.
Hello.
So it's great to have you guys back.
It's good to be back.
Yay.
Yay.
As I said, Aaron's taking a week off, and Heidi hasn't shown up for any of our album reviews so far. She'll be back, I'm sure.
She's going to walk the plank.
But yeah, this is a really, really dark album. It reminded me why when I was really young and listening to this, I left this album behind, because wow, does this album get really bizarre.
I am for some reason blanking on the track listing.
Well, let's
is
go through what they have.
Dematch
Okay.
versus Heart.
So Stomach versus Heart is the start,
Yeah.
and then we go dark
Straw hat.
right
Oh,
out.
Straw
We
Hat.
go straw hat right off the bat.
Yeah.
I know, right?
And then they're like, that's not dark enough. Let's go with I Know. Let's start talking about racism and why I hate you. And then they're like, okay, and this is the end of the album. This is where it ends. Let's talk a
Wow.
little bit about suicide here.
Oh, I mean, there's two of them then, because isn't I
Yeah.
live with every day?
I live
on-
with it every day, which is where he kills someone and then wants to
Yeah.
die.
And
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
fall is like a suicide
Yeah.
ideation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, when I fall is I wish I had enough guts to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And then we move on to finally we get to something that's not so dark. We got Old Apartment, but that's still kind of dark. I'm gonna go
It
back
is. Yeah, it is.
and
dark.
break into
Yeah.
my
It's
old
full of
apartment.
Yeah.
goodness and-
Yeah.
yeah.
And mess with my old neighbor. Yeah.
But
What's
it's
going on?
not as bad as going and murdering your neighbor when you're
No,
10, so-
that's true.
And unlike how I thought of it when I first was listening to it, it's not about like the singer going back to like antagonize his ex-girlfriend. Like he moved away with her, and now they're just going back to where they used to like.
This is where
Yeah,
we used to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm still happy with you today, but I really miss my old apartment
I missed my dang mousetrap.
and dish rack.
I'm dish
I
rack.
just
felt
Oh, the
that
back.
way about some of the apartments I've lived in. Like,
Me too.
And then they move on to talking about prostitution with Call Me Calmly.
Mhm.
And then they're like, you know what? Let's go dark, but really, really soft and make Steve just like wow everybody with
And
Break
just
Your
slap
Heart.
everyone with a masterpiece is what they said. I believe.
Yep. And then we're going to go weird and do Spider in My Room.
Mhm.
We're going to go to the left deep end. Oh, but that's not weird enough. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, how about the same thing where no one knows what we're talking about? And then no, we're still not dark enough. Let's talk about Pinocchio's brother
yeah.
and the fact
And
that
burning
Pinocchio
him
wants to-
violently.
yes, and wants to kill Pinocchio. Yep. Okay. And then Jim's like, "Oh, I can one up that. Let's talk about drinking blood." Get
Well,
the vampire.
that's about being in love with somebody. That's
I know that it's supposed to be sweet, but the idea of drinking someone else's blood just doesn't work for me.
Be like Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton.
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if he was doing it tongue in cheek because of them, but wow.
a
And
little
then
too early for that, I think.
then they're like, okay, well, now let's just talk about a age inappropriate relationship where
Mhm.
you know a Mrs. Robinson type relationship.
And didn't the EP literally have like a skeleton hand coming out of the
Yep.
shoebox? If I remember. Yeah, that's what I thought.
So this is a super dark dark album. I don't know what they were dealing with in their lives at the time.
I do. It's in the book. Let me read it.
Go ahead.
If
Do you want
Betsy
me
could
to?
read just a
Yeah.
snippet.
Here, let me read an excerpt. Let's see. Okay, so third studio album. So it says ultimately, though, the process marked the end of their first blue period. So this is the start of their third studio album. They would be reborn on this pirate ship, but it was going to cost them. When I think back to Born on a Pirate Ship, Ed says today, I just think about what a distracted band we were then. We really wanted to make a good record, and I think we did, but we were all over the place, personally and as a unit. And there's like more and more, and it says something because Andy left, Jim now found himself doubting why he should stay. So he kind of like doubled down on like wanting to have some songs in the book and kind of asserting he says, if I'm here, I'm going to commit to this thing in a big way. I'm going to work at it, and I'm going to write and bring songs to the band. That's what Jim said. So yeah, there's some upheaval in their own lives, it sounds like, and it looks like it's reflected in the album.
Yeah, it is a very all over the place album. But it's also one of the things that I miss with new BNL is what we get in this album, and what we've had on other albums less so, but a lot on this album is, let's take someone else's perspective. Like, what if I were Pinocchio's brother? What if I were a window washer on a skyscraper? What if
the farmer?
Yeah, like they're not like, let me just sing about the same thing I've sung about a million times. They're like, let's look at all these different variations on life.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
And I wish they could do more of that now, because
everything's pretty on the nose lately.
It's the one album, like the one commercial album where they didn't have like the extra point of view from like an amazing multi-instrumentalist. Like, it's just Steve and Ed and Jim, like musically. I mean, Tyler's there obviously, but like, before him, before this album, you had Andy like playing piano and percussion and all this different, like adding all this stuff. And then after, Kevin fills that role amazingly. But like, this is like, I wonder if a bit of what they were feeling was just the hibernation of having, like, it's just this insular foursome trying to hack it out, or I don't know.
Yeah, there was a big shift.
Yeah,
several shifts going on. So yeah, I think they're just trying to keep their boat afloat, to not to be too on the nose. But
it wasn't until they were doing Old Apartment when Ty went out on that balcony and started like dancing at the city, like like finally feeling good about the album.
I think for me, it's one of their most eclectic albums too. It's the one that you never know what's coming next, song wise, thematically, and everything. It's a very diverse album.
It is. And it's also the first album we get to see hear the Stephen Duffy, Stephen Page connection.
Yep.
Because I don't believe we heard it on Maybe You Should Drive.
They wrote Jane.
Yeah, Jane.
Together.
Oh, you're right. Yes, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Strike that. I was wrong.
And I think a couple other things on that album too.
Yeah, they did. Now that you're saying that, I'm like, oh yeah, they did this. Oh yeah, that one too. Oh
yeah. A couple of these songs had been kicking around for a while though. Like we talked about Break Your Heart last time, and Same Thing. There's like more verses of Same Thing on that Massey Hall album from 1993 is just an amazing like source for so many great early versions of songs that would not be on an album until way later, trimmed down. I think I Live With It Every Day was on there maybe.
I'm looking for it.
Also, Everything Old is New Again, Alternative Girlfriend, and The Wrong Man Was Convicted are also Duffy Page songs. On Maybe You Should Try.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, right here.
No,
that's the Danforth Hall one.
I consulted with my prized possession.
Were you talking about the Danforth Hall one, Noah?
No, the Massey Hall, April 4th, 1993. I only know that because I had a double CD of it back when people were burning CDs for.
I don't have that one.
The version of Break Your Heart that you sent around after the last recording was from that. It was the CFNY show that they recorded. It also had a song called Lame Joke Eddie, where in the middle of it, Ed and Steve sing the rap from one of Ed's old bands, Yet Another Posse.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, it's a great live album. I have it on a drive somewhere. I can send it to you.
I would love that. Oh my gosh,
I can
think
send
that's
it to
the
you.
only
Here, hold
album
on.
I don't own yet.
It's like Andy was still with them, and it was like it seemed from listening to it like it was a big, like, I mean, maybe end of tour coming home show or something, because it's Massey Hall, which is huge anyway, but like the crowd reaction is just crazy.
Now I'm intrigued.
I'm gonna try to send it to you, Tracy.
That would be great. I gotta own that. I own like everything. I need to own that. I can't possibly not own a BNL CD. That's not an acceptable
Not an
choice.
option.
There's a live show from the stunt era when they were playing in Boston, where in the middle of $1 Million, Ed and Tyler just impromptu start singing Yub Nub, like, and it's perfect. And at the end of it, Steve is like, "You guys are dorks."
Yes.
I heard it once, and it's on YouTube. I can't find it, and it's all I think about now.
I wonder if you would be able to find it on BNL Archive.
Yeah,
I probably would. I mean, the Massey Hall show is certainly on there. But and that's the other thing too, like that Massey Hall show is, so often you get live shows that sound shitty because they're recorded from the audience, but this is a radio feed, I think, because they did it for CFNY. And so like that, and then there was a WDET session that they did early on where Andy's playing or Tyler's playing a suitcase and a trash can.
Yeah.
That like those two albums were huge for me. They did like a cover of Faith, but it was all about how nobody trusted in the band at first. Like they had to, Anyway, we're getting off track. I'm sorry.
But there's a lot of stuff that they already had in there. And matter of fact, you had mentioned that the Break Your Heart and Same Thing were actually recorded for Maybe You Should Drive, and those recordings were brought over for this album. I was looking it up after we talked last time, and those are the actual recordings from the Maybe You Should Drive sessions.
Huh. They must have overdubbed, like broken them down and like reorganized things then, because there's like this killer like drum roll like that Tyler does at one point that isn't on the Pirate Ship version, that you see them all reacting to it in the studio when they recorded it. So like they must have.
Well, and there's the extra verses that are
Sure.
missing, and
I wonder if by the time they actually recorded it, they had trimmed the song down from its original version.
We talked about Break Your Heart last week too, but when I was doing my re-listen for this album, same thing made me wonder because it's a very piano-heavy song, and I was thinking about how they didn't really have a keyboard player at this point.
Well,
I mean,
Andy came in to record.
I was gonna say, was that still Andy on?
Oh no, sorry, not Andy. Kevin came in to record.
In, okay.
But he wasn't. Matter of fact, in the album listing, it says, thank you to Kevin,
right? Okay,
for bringing a new energy. But he couldn't go on tour with them at the time because he was still touring with, I want to say,
Loose Pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't remember hearing it much until Same Thing came in, and Same Thing has a very heavy piano part.
Yeah. So we get to hear that. That's true. This is the first album where we also get to hear Kevin playing.
Is he listed in the personnel on that track?
I think I went to look it up, and then
I remember him not being like he's listed in the liner notes under a special thanks because when they started touring, they called him up and they were like, "Hey, you need to learn all these songs," and
he's like, "I knew a bunch of them already."
He did a crash course and learned them all, and then went on tour with them. I don't think he played anything on the album itself, but
I think you're right. I think as he didn't play on the album, he went on tour with them. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for Bopes, and it actually lists Tyler Stewart as playing piano. So I'm wondering, did he play piano on that? Yeah.
He's actually the first I've ever heard of that.
He's actually listed as the piano player, and I'm wondering if he's the one that played piano on that song, because there's definitely piano on that one.
I guess it could be.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah.
Trying to break it down right now.
Thrill as we all go down the rabbit hole.
I know. I'm checking the book.
Is that the Public Stunts Private Stories book?
Yeah, that's the one.
I was amazed that you got through that whole description of them recording the album without Paul Myers talking about himself.
I know. I don't mind.
They don't actually say in here who does the piano on Same Thing. But that makes sense because they recorded it for the last session.
Right. Wikipedia doesn't break it down like that. It just shows personnel on the album. So it just says the only piano player listed is Tyler.
It's got to be Andy.
I'm guessing that Tyler played piano on one of the gym tracks, one of the weird
maybe.
Maybe. Right.
Stony Park or
I would have guessed that he would have played it on In the Drink because the piano was very percussive.
Or maybe Just a Toy could be too.
Yeah.
I think gonna guess it was the piano we're hearing is Andy because they recorded it in the previous sessions.
That's what I was thinking when you said that. Like if it was recorded for,
I think they would have listed him. It doesn't say anybody.
It doesn't say Andy. It doesn't list Andy. No, it doesn't. Yeah.
They messed that up.
Steve, I know Steve does play piano.
Yeah, they don't list piano in there at all. As one of the instruments that anyone's playing.
You can hear piano in that track?
Every member of Bare Naked Ladies, we know you listen. Please come on the show and let us know who played piano on Same Thing.
Let me see.
We could do a whole episode on that. Oh, you already did an episode on the Same Thing. Never mind.
I mean, the other possibility is Chris Brown because he was also on this in a number of tracks as well.
He's listed as organ, so that would make sense. Yeah, I'm showing at least here.
It doesn't break it down here for him, but that would be my other guess of who it could be.
Michael Philip Ogioda has a credit for yells.
Yeah.
Well, he did them, so he's getting good credits for it.
And he was playing tambourine, smears of tambourine. Well, we should probably discuss a little bit. I will. So I've picked on this album a lot, but I still gave it a 4.41. Like it's still way up there. and trying to organize it, I really had a hard time with balancing it. It's a dark theme, but it's all over the place.
Yeah.
And sound wise, it's all over the place. So it's hard to organize into anything. But I will say it is the most weirdly organized album I have ever heard.
Like, I was gonna say, like, this is one that I don't, for the longest time, I didn't come back to this one as much as the other ones, and I wondered why that was. And I guess in my head, I thought maybe I just didn't, it didn't connect as much. But I think that's what it is. I think it's the organization of it. Because when I was listening through tonight, I realized I really, really do love a lot of the songs in this album. Like, there's really strong songs, and I was like, wow, this one is way better than I remember. But yeah, it's just the way it switches and how it starts and how it ends. It's like, when we talk about it, the first song and the last song are not how I would. I'm not a professional, but I wouldn't start or end the album that way.
It's interesting what they chose to go with and where they bounced around to, and I think it's what drew me off from this album for so long, because I really, really like the songs on this album. Like,
yeah,
when we listened to them separately, I gave it a 4.41. That's not an album I hate.
Mm-hmm.
But this is also an album I don't come back to. And until I started this podcast, I didn't listen to this album. I listened to the singles, but I did not listen to this album.
I went through and put my scores in the spreadsheet, and yeah, they were definitely higher than I anticipated across the board.
Do you think it's just because it's like overtly heavier stuff, where they usually kind of tincture their heavier stuff with like poppier, happier sounding rhythms and just kind of disguise it?
I think it's just the feel of the songs as they go from one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the other piece, so for example, we don't hit our first single until the 7th spot.
Right.
That is very unusual.
That's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the only other single on this album is the last song.
And that was only because they were with Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers put it on the Friends soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
I think this was such an independent album for them. Like, they got Old Apartment made as a video because they were friends with
Jason Priestley.
Mm. Like, they were really going out on their own, I think. And this just what it sounds to me, from listening to it. And
well, this is when they were with Nigel, and Nigel was not known to be the best manager in the world.
The best.
He and the band definitely had a lot of times that they came to banging heads. So,
mm-hmm.
And this album was the time when it was the most competitive and combative between them and the band. So,
yeah,
and then
Gordon,
they tied "Break Your Heart" as number 9 on this album.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is an amazing. First of all, it's not even a single. What the hell? But then they hide it at number 9. Like, yeah, that's not our. It's like that. That's like one of those little songs that might spice things up in the middle.
Right.
What? That is like your like major song on this album, as far as I'm concerned. That is an amazing song.
You're not gonna like where I put it.
That's what she said.
And here's the other thing: they put "Break Your Heart" after "Call Me Calmly."
Right. That's
that is not
Mm-hmm.
placement of that song.
Maybe the hooker broke his heart. You don't know.
Well, yeah, it's just sound wise, like I don't know. I couldn't end Call Me Calmly and then go into Break Your Heart. Like it just doesn't. It doesn't feel right.
It could be because like it is such a, it's an amazing song, but it has a nothing start. It's like, just Steve's voice.
The breathiness, yeah.
Whereas,
yeah.
Like as opposed to 1 week, which also has just Steve's voice, but it's like, like it's like jumping in to start something. And it's a ballad. It's, it's slow. It's very passionate, but he also uneven in that he like screams, towards the end. Like, I can see whoever it was, I can see their reasoning for not having it be a single because it doesn't sound, it is a fan favorite, but it's not, there isn't really a single on this record except for Shoebox and Old Apartment.
Yeah.
Maybe I Know, but I'm just thinking about like what you hear this band and you think single, and like I'm amazed that Call and Answer was a single. Like it's Bare Naked Ladies are, what they're famous for is, they're the It's Been band. They're the power pop, like rappy, dancey band. And Break Your Heart, as much as I love it, just isn't that kind of song.
No, but I mean, if I think at other songs that helped break other bands in America, and really that was kind of where they were going at this point, because Canada had at this point kind of poo-pooed them because of the second album. They didn't like the second album so much. And they were trying to break in at least a little bit at this point, which is why they were also releasing Rock Spectac. A lot of songs at that time were ballads and were catching radio play. And I could have seen it catching radio play and then people going, "Oh, wait, they play this kind of stuff too? That's pretty cool."
Yeah.
I mean, at this time you had like More Than Words, you had
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
You've got songs like Nothing Compares to You out at this time, I Will Always Love You.
Going purely on 90s aesthetic and the shallowness of what radio play and MTV was huge. Like seeing a larger guy in a plaid shirt singing, like his heart out, and he doesn't have a harmonica in his, mouth. Like it's like, I don't know who was making the decisions, but like, I don't know.
I can see it working though. I mean,
I can only speak for me, but I mean, and you and I know, like we all agree on this one. But if in the '90s, if Break Your Heart had come on my radio, I would have been like, "Holy crap, who are these guys?" Like I would have loved to have heard on the radio. I can see what Noah's saying though. Did the general populace, were they ready for that? Is that what they wanted? But yeah, it would have stopped me in my tracks if I would have heard that on the radio, and I would have been like, because like I said, I got to the Bare Naked Ladies game late. I had heard 1 week even. And I hate to say it, but 1 week never as much as it was fun and I know it was always background noise, it wasn't the song that brought me to Bare Naked Ladies at all.
Right.
It wasn't until I stumbled on like Pinch Me and I got my Maroon and I got into, then I was like, oh my god, this is a phenomenal band. But yeah, like Break Your Heart probably would have sold me on them, but I can see maybe it wouldn't have been bringing everybody in.
Yeah.
It wasn't that boppy, fun, driving song like they would do later with 1 week and all that.
Right. But I mean, the other thing is like
Another Postcard, for example,
is Brian Wilson, and that really captured people too. And
so I was going to ask about this earlier. Like Gordon had Brian Wilson. This album has a Straw Hat, so a song about Anne Murray. Like, did Maybe You Should Drive have a celebrity-driven song?
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Gordon had Brian Wilson and Yoko Ono. Like,
I mean, Juliana Hatfield was in Maybe You Should Drive, but
sure.
I'm
Or,
saying.
or Julie Andrews, depending on which version of that song you listen
That's
to.
right. Yeah.
No, I don't see any on here that were celebrity driven.
Yeah. Maroon had Celebrity, I think.
Right.
Or what album was that? Was it
Oh, no,
Maroon? I
no,
don't
that
know.
was Everything for Everyone.
Everything. Yeah.
Nope,
You'd
I'm
win.
looking through it and I don't see a single
Yeah.
one.
And I mean, it wasn't like Straw Hat was,
Life in a Nutshell
explicitly
was about Mr. Peanut. Literally about living in a nutshell. It's
Or Austin Powers. Me in a nutshell.
Well, I want to ask, does anyone have a re-edit, a reorganization, restructuring of this album? Because honestly, when I first came up with the concept of at the end of this podcast, we need to make sure we go back and restructure, this was the album that inspired all that. Because, like I said, this album is chaos, and I love the songs and I hate the album, and I think that can be fixed. So I know Jeff mentioned that he's got a restructure. Does anyone else have one?
I
could
didn't have
probably
time
do
this
one.
week. Sorry.
Sorry, what did you
looking
say,
at
Noah?
comments.
Just looking at the track list, I'm gonna try and improvise one.
Okay. Do you want a few
let-
minutes or you want to go?
No, I just want to go.
All right, go.
All right. I'm gonna start with I Know.
Ooh.
And then go to Stomach versus Heart. And then let's see.
I
And
can
then
hear that.
Straw Hat. And after Straw Hat, I say Shoebox. And then
Ooh, right in the number 4.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's see. And then we need to cool down a little bit. So keep When I Fall where it is. And flip Old Apartment and
No,
I
Flip's
Live
the
with-
later our album.
Is that an album? I have no idea. I don't listen to
It's a song off an album.
Sorry, you were saying Flip Old Apartment and which
Flip
one?
Old Apartment and I Live with It Every Day.
Okay.
And then
Okay. Yeah.
Break Your Heart. We lump in the drink right after Spider in My Room.
Ooh,
like
double Jim
A
Cregan.
Jim Cregan double header. Maybe one blends into the other. Let's see, where am I?
You
I
have not put This Is Where It Ends anywhere yet.
Okay. I think
and
we
Call Me
end with-
Calmly isn't anywhere.
We end with same
Same thing and Just a Toy.
Just a Toy gets cut.
Wow.
Same thing is the ender and Call Me Calmly, and you know what? This Is Where It Ends should be the last song because that, is funny.
That's where it ends.
So same thing. All right, I don't know what my order is anymore, but Call Me Calmly, same thing, and This Is Where It Ends, I think,
Okay.
are the last 3 tracks.
All right.
I don't. Just a Toy, it's fine, but it's like you can't hear the first like half a verse of it or whatever because they're singing like this, like
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like it harkens back to like the Gordon era where they were just like stuck in the studio just trying every effect they possibly could and like let's see what sounds cool, you know. But
they were feeling free from
Yeah.
what's his name? From the album before, and they're like, let's do this.
oh, the Ben Mink. Yeah. Yeah. Jim was like in his, put on more rouge phase.
He could carry it off.
I mean, yeah, if anybody could, like, there hasn't been a look that Jim has tried that hasn't worked. He looked a
true.
little too much like Carrot Top, but
Yeah.
like, that's fine.
Yeah.
He looks better than Carrot Top ever did. So yeah, that's my order. It might be a little messy, but
I kind of like that. That makes me
like it.
happier than the original order. I will say that much. Like sound wise, I think it blends much better. What about you, Jeff? What's your order?
Well, so I like dark. I'm a horror fan, so I like that this album is dark. So my order is nothing that anybody would ever do, but it's because it's kind of gutsy. I actually, and like originally I was like, let's put one of the big ones, Shoebox or Old Apartment, at the beginning, but then I thought, you know what? No, let's actually start with Straw Hat.
Ooh.
And the reason I thought that is because Straw Hat starts sounding like a very poppy, fun song. And then it goes dark when it gets all stalkery, and it has that key change, and it gets and it gets in. So I like that little transition, like, hey, this is what you're in for. I then put The Old Apartment next, because it is the big flashy song, and also one that I'm very biased towards, of course, because it's the only Bare Naked Lady song I've done a parody of so far. But I also do. I think that's where the big, because a lot of albums do that sometimes. They won't put the big hit first, they'll put it second. So I did that. Then I said let's bring it back here and do When I Fall. Yeah, it slows things down, but When I Fall is also such a brilliant song. It's such a so I put that there, and then I actually put Shoebox after that to kind of speed things back up again.
Okay.
You're already not liking this, Tracy.
No, I'm trying to
Just bear
reorganize
with
it
me.
on the sheet.
But I live with it every day after that. And I know, and this is where it ends, because I don't know why thematically in my head when I was listening to them again today, those songs just, they work with me together in some sort of weird ethereal way. I put Stomach versus Heart in the middle. I love Stomach versus Heart, but it's a weird song. Lyrically fantastic, just an amazing song. But I put it there. Spider in My Room after that. Then I have Same Thing. I put Just a Toy. Probably, I think it's where it is on the original album. Actually, I think it's the third to the last. I actually have Calm Me Calmly there, and in the most wrong decision I have ever made, I end with Break Your Heart. Because of how bombastic and big it ends. I like that. Like, I like the big emotional finish being the last thing you hear, because of the entire B&L catalog, Break Your Heart is hands down one of my favorite songs. So I just love the fact that it would be that little kind of back to slow. And I've definitely heard albums in the past that have done this. Their last album doesn't go beat of the wall kind of thing. It is slow, but then Break Your Heart does have that huge dynamic build, and I kind of like ending on that. So yes, even though we said it could have been a single, it had the potential. It sounds like a song that should go earlier. I kind of like it at the end.
And
or I'd put it on Maybe You Should Drive.
Where did you have In the Drink?
I don't. No, I've forgotten the drink. Oops.
I'm not going to say I blame you.
I must have forgotten to put in the drink on my own.
So which is the better song, Spider in My Room or In the Drink?
Spider in My Room.
Spider in My Room.
If I had to choose between the two, Spider in My Room.
Depends on what I'm in the mood for.
Yeah.
I like In the Drink musically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's the lyrics that just turn me off from it.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that, but
Like I said, I'm sure it has an audience. I'm sure there's somebody for it. In the Drink just doesn't. That's one where it just doesn't connect with me for whatever reason. It just doesn't hit me.
Well, you weren't the person he was trying to, impress with that song. I think.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Hey, how do you know?
Yeah, you don't know. Jim and I had a Twilight thing going on.
Well, I mean, In the Drink, that is kind of a vampire song.
He was the Edward to my whatever her name.
he's your glittery vampire.
My glittery vampire. Jim, we know you listen. Come on the show.
Please.
Glitters.
Your brother's been on the show.
Well, would anyone like to hear my restructure?
Yeah.
Yes.
Go for it.
Please.
I'll go ahead. It's going to be it's going to be a journey, and it's going to be songs that you would not expect. As you said, Jeff, like I got rid of last week one of the biggest songs on this album. I put Break Your Heart on where it deserved to be originally.
I was
Maybe
gonna
You
say
Should
that. Like
Drive.
I would put Break Your Heart on Maybe You Should Drive, honestly. But...
Yeah. So that one's gone. So what am I gonna do? And I said, don't worry, I have a plan. Because I do. I'm actually
course
2 or 3
you do,
weeks
Tracy.
ahead.
Said that to
on-
yourself?
Yeah.
I'm 2 or 3 weeks ahead at this point on my plans. So I'm gonna share because I've actually done a presentation a little bit here.
Did you do a PowerPoint presentation of your
No, I didn't do that. I did an Audacity presentation.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Wow.
I'm gonna lead you through what this album is now gonna sound like.
Okay.
We're gonna start our journey. This album, we haven't heard from Bare Naked Ladies for 2 years at this point. Unless they've been on tour and you've seen them on tour, but you've been stuck with the same 2 songs. And I want to start this album off with a song that really makes you feel like home. You haven't heard them for a while, so you miss them, and we're gonna play a song that
Old
sounds
Apartment.
a lot like them.
That's
I can hear the bass better in that too.
Through my veins, without brain.
I think that they were right with starting off this album with this song. Like it is BNL sounding,
Okay.
and it definitely works. It's that next song that doesn't quite seem right. I thought about putting Old Apartment at the sweet spot of number 3 because that's where you put your singles most of the time. You're waiting for people to get into it. But after that upbeat song that I have at number 3, it makes Old Apartment sound slow and loses its single feel. So it's going to go at the number 2 spot right after
Oh.
Stomach versus Heart.
where I put mine. Same spot.
That's what you get when you confuse your stomach with your heart.
Oh, we get together.
Together, the more we get together, the happier we'll be.
Look into the old apartment.
So we get that nice harsh guitar strumming that's kind of coming off from that last song. It still works. It's about the same rhythm speed, so it's keeping us going. And I like that harsh sound that's coming in, a little bit more alternative. So it does it some good justice. But that leads me to the next song. We need to still take it up another notch. We really want to grab people right off the bat.
Damn.
To something that you couldn't hear on the radio, but definitely should have. So we got to finish off the last song first.
I woke up yesterday.
I love back.
Fell down 2 flights of stairs.
That's one of my
Well,
favorite.
I
ever.
thought
We finish with the last word
I want
back,
them back.
and then we literally go into the song back.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Love it.
one of the
It's-
best.
It was
I mean,
less off this
yeah.
album, and I don't know why.
because it's offensive.
Oh, they weren't worried about that at this time. Come on.
Can't even use the clapper.
They were definitely not worried about being offensive at this period of time in their life. And it's just a fun song. And I think this song helps to really catch you and make you say, "Oh, I love this album. I need to buy this album." And this is where we're going to start going down the album's new theme of we're looking at the world from different points of view. We're going to start off with the quadriplegic or paraplegic. He switches his view a few times in the song. So we got to finish that song, and then we've been going off the deep end, and we're going to continue to get a little crazy for a little bit longer, but at a different speed. We're going to dial it down on the speed, but dial up the crazy. And we're going to continue to look at it from someone else's point of view.
Off the deep end.
lies and deception won't change the perception that I fell flat on my ass.
I have a prediction.
What's
I
your
do too.
prediction?
I say it's Straw Hat.
It's Straw Hat. Yeah.
Attend the wheat field.
You know, I can tell by that middle portion what the next that song is gonna be.
You think
That
you know what the
tiny
next
little
song will end up
waves,
being?
the tiny waves. That's Jim.
You think that next one's Jim? Okay. Well, we're gonna. I think that Straw Hat is that really good fourth spot where you're still upbeat and you're keeping it going, but you're starting to show people we're gonna get dark now. But then we're going to continue to look at the world from a different point of view, but we're going to slow things down a little bit more. And that's okay, because it's a great song from Ed that brings us back to normal sweetness. And it's still one of my favorites, but it's kind and compassionate message that really tears your heart.
When I fall.
This way, I know it was meant to be this way. I know it was meant to be this
That's wrong.
And I think it's that nice, like we've been rocking it. It's time to bring it down.
Can't look below me. Did he just say blow?
Yeah, I know.
me?
I know. I can't believe you did those alternative lyrics.
Okay, now it's time to take it up a notch again. I'm going to finish
more
off
notch.
this song, and then I'll explain where we're heading. Whoops.
And if I should try, would you catch me if I fall? I wish I could fly from this building, from this wall. And if I should try, would you catch me if I fall? When I fall.
Still love how he goes from if I to when I. That's one of my favorite lyric transitions.
Very telling.
So good. So good.
And it's so subtle. They don't.
Yeah, it's just a subtle little switch. Because the title is When I Fall, but he's been saying If I Fall.
Oh yeah,
I love
through
that.
the whole
Such
thing.
a brilliant
That's one
moment.
of my favorite songs.
Yeah, amazing moment.
And I love how you can hear him falling as the
Yeah,
song.
yeah.
More and more distant, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so now it's time to take it up a notch, and we have to start picking it up a bit at the end of that song. And now we're going into a different sort of rhythm, and it's a bit darker theme than and once you know what it's about, it's not dark, it's just different. And we're going to continue to look at things from another person's point of view again, but this time, well, you'll figure it out.
And I were meant to be, even though you don't know me.
So again, we haven't fully come out of the slow, but we're taking it up a little, slow little ticks. And now we go from Call Me Calmly to something that is really dark. And that's because Steve is going to bring us into the mindset of a person that never got past his deepest, darkest secret.
Call me, call me.
So we are firmly into the CD era at this point. There's no more cassettes. I mean, they're there, but they're not what you majorly listen to albums on anymore at this point. And so we don't really need to think about the end of side A, start of side B type thing anymore, which is good because I want to keep the theme going. It's going good. It's going strong. It's time to keep the rhythm really similar. And I think that following this song up immediately after such a dark song, but keeping a similar rhythm really does service to this song. We've talked, this is a really controversial song, and I think placing it right makes people like this song more. So we'll see what you guys think, if you agree or disagree. I like the idea of the moans and the weird music and the kind of weird instruments going into another type of weird instrument and kind of keeping it going. What do you guys think on that one? Does that help that song or hurt it?
I mean, I like that song, so I guess I mean, helps it, I guess.
I think it's good. I do like the build on that song. Like, I like the way that song builds, and I like the vocals there and everything, like the tribal vocals. So yeah, that works.
No, it looked like you were going to say something.
No, I wasn't. I like.
Well, fine then.
I like the transition. Like it flows well from the previous song. Like it works well here.
Okay. All right. Well, now we're going to take a quick trip back to the dark and slower songs because Steve is going to finish off our point of view section. By staying with those dark and oddly rhythmic cyclings on the bass and the drums.
Popcorn.
Pop, 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 pop.
I like Toy there. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's good. Good choice.
So at the end of this song, it goes very quiet for like the last 10 seconds. It's almost completely silent. And that leads us nicely into the next section of this album where they start talking about their own points of view. And Steve decides to start us off with that by taking
Oh,
us.
you're doing Break Your Heart, aren't you?
No, remember Break Your
Oh.
Heart is on the previous album.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I forgot that's not on this one.
He's bringing us into a pretty depressive, cutting, suicidal ideation discussion.
Oh, okay.
We're on drugs.
Must have loved me sometime, but now I'm just a toy. I know you must have loved me sometime. But
God, he sounds
now
so good
I'm
there.
Just a toy.
Mhm.
Oh, that is some good Steven vocal right there.
I don't buy everything I read.
I think that
I
it
miss his voice so much.
I know.
Oh man.
He's playing here in March, and I'm like really, really trying to save up the money to go and see him.
Yeah.
we may already have our tickets for when he comes here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely.
He's going from Portland, Oregon, and then he
I
comes to
know.
Maine, and he decides to go to Orono instead of Portland, Maine. I mean, you had an opportunity, Steve.
Portland to Portland. He's got like a
Portland.
week off in between or something though.
The Portland tour.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna finish that song off, and then we get to a song that the more I thought about it, the more I wondered if this is Ed's point of view on the song, where he's talking about what it's like to have siblings. You love them, you hate them, you don't see their points of view, and it really leads to really strong emotions. I know it, I know. At the same time, I know it's a societal commentary on religion and politics.
You know?
But I do.
This one ends, go, but listen, come, but please still come, my friends. This one ends, this is where it ends.
I know.
I like my big sister, but I don't want to wear her coat.
I know why I like you. It's 'cause of your clothing and your haircut, and 'cause you're racist.
They led off the Born on a Pirate Ship television special with that song, and it was awesome.
Nice. That's cool.
And Ed broke a
That's
string
cool.
immediately and like
Yeah.
played 4 songs with a.
It's really a catchy song. It really is.
It's an
kind of
amazing
fun.
song.
All right, so now I'm doing the unthinkable. I listened to the album. I've gone over this like 3 or 4 times, and I felt like it was missing something every time I went through it. The album has some amazing diversity of sound.
You cheated again, didn't you?
Nope, no.
Oh, okay.
But then it becomes very samey at the end of this album, and I hate myself. I do, but it's missing in the drink.
nice.
Yeah.
You know what I think this song needs is for that second to last bit to just be taken out, where
Yeah.
like it, because you think that he's going to go into this like the strumming and toe stepping thing, and he doesn't. There's like that extra section of like him sort of, pleasuring himself on the guitar, and like if that was just lifted out, it would get started faster. It would be a better song.
I
That's just
think
my
you're
opinion.
right. Yeah.
I'm actually surprised when I went through it. That's the longest song in the album.
Yeah,
that's true.
That one passes
Yeah,
5
it's like
minutes.
five
Because they
which
just
I was
left
out.
him in a room to
Right.
just like
just
do
jam.
whatever
yeah.
he wanted, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
It was noodling. Yeah.
And I really like the noodling that's going on there, but yeah, I think you're right. That little extra bit is what makes it so jaunting or so jumpy when you
Yeah.
get into that song proper. But it doesn't. It needs to be there. I don't like the words of the song, and it's jarring for me. But the sound really fits here. It's that aperitif before you get to the dessert, and it really needs to be in.
You mean fangs because it's blood.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like it. So, okay, we need to pick it up a bit at the end of this song, and
I'm calling shoebox.
We need to put us into a good mood so that we're ready for the closer. Because I don't think we're ready for the closer just yet, but we need to get there. And we need something a little bit more upbeat and slightly bittersweet. And I'm going to go with this song.
Oh yeah.
I was surprised at how incredibly fast you would I come up and ask for a light.
I'm taking it off the B-side. I'm pulling it off there, and I'm putting it near the bottom of this list because I feel like it's good enough to be on the album proper, and it really is our build up to our closing song.
It's okay,
Got
Tracy.
that
I trust you.
That amazing line. The Holy Trinity is there in your purse, a condom, obsession, and mace.
Yes.
How can you cut
And not the
that
spice.
off the album?
There's some other Bare Naked song that I sing that in the place of, and I can't remember what song it is, but I'll because it fits perfectly with the rhythm.
Another postcard.
Oh, wait till we get to that album. Okay, so that leads me to the best song on the album. It's the only one that's going to make you want to restart the CD and listen to this whole thing all over again. It's the one that you've listened to this whole CD to get to. It makes you feel good. It's been a journey, but it's no lie because it was worth it. And we are closing with Shoebox.
A key in the door, a step on the floor, a note on the table, and a meal in the micro. No test.
We're sort of closing with Shoebox. Maybe.
You got an encore.
Because, yes, they've done it for 2 albums. Why not do it for one more? And it makes
Hidden
you
Sun.
smile as you go out.
Wait, what is that?
That's La Bamba, isn't it?
That is How's the Level from their first CD. I mean, their first cassette. And I think it's just a nice little like a little extra add in there that is going to make people smile if they stick around long enough to listen to the whole thing.
We did a whole episode on How's the Level.
Yeah.
It lasted an hour.
Oh my god.
For a 5-second song.
We talked about that for an hour.
Is that true?
Yeah, true story. I want to go back and listen to that again because I don't remember how we.
There's my friend Erica, who was on my Polywog episode with me, had a dance troupe for a long time, and she would use from a Brothers Cregan album, the track "Oops, I Fumbled." She would put it in between the songs that they were rehearsing because it was just enough time to get from like the finish of the song to like back to the start, because it would just go oop, I fumbled ooh, and then like they would be in place again, and then they would start. Yeah, it's check
So
the level. What
that's
was that
my
song?
album Resequence.
Nice. I like it.
Nice.
I like
Yeah,
it.
it's great.
Good, yeah.
I think that it portrays the songs better than what was originally done. I like to think so.
Yeah, it was a kind of an awkward album, or at least a heavy album. So it's nice to hear a different spin on things.
And Michael Philip Vojoda, please don't think that we're saying that you didn't mix this album well. No, the songs themselves are amazing. It's
I
just
think the
Yeah.
songs are mixed beautifully. Actually, he really made some good use of the left-right channels on this. Which I hadn't really noticed again.
yeah.
I was listening with headphones today. He made some amazing use of the channels and the mixing. And one thing I also noticed about this album is, because I went through and I did my rankings again. Eventually, I'm going to get caught up if I keep joining. So I did all the songs of this album. And one of the things that was like, I would have a score in it, like what I Live With It Every Day, which I think I gave a 4.5, and Call Me Calmly 4.1. They were lower until we got to the bridge. And once the bridge hit on both of those songs, I bumped my scores up. Because in both of those cases, I was just like, whoa. Just what they like, I Live With Every Day, that gorgeous Stephen Ed Harm, the laugh lines on.
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh.
Mm-hmm.
So
Steve, Ed, and Jim is in there too. Like
oh yeah,
it's
it's Jim's. That was so amazing. And then Call Me Calmly just is already a fun bouncy song within it. Like just so the moments like there in the interstitials were so good. And it sounds gorgeous. Like the production on this album is fantastic.
Yeah. Like
I
it
think
really
they
does
were
come
they were
back.
just at a point where they were, they just were all completely scattered in all sorts of different ways, and they, if their later ordering of the track lists is any indication, like they always do it as a whole band, and
Right.
it's possible that they just couldn't come to an agreement on something that flowed better than this, and maybe they were running out of time, or they all sound amazing because Michael Vojoda is not only an amazing engineer and producer, but they trusted him, and it was like coming home, and like, but he doesn't necessarily have final say on what the order of the tracks is, and all the songs are there.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they're not all in the best order, but like,
What's funny is I was actually just thinking ahead to the next album, and I was looking at the track order there, and it's like night and day, because the track order of the next album I think is like a very different, cohesive. Yeah, it's such a good. That track order is amazing.
On
so,
Stunt or Rock Spectacular?
on Stunt.
yeah.
I was thinking Stunt. Yeah,
Stunt is a beast on of its own.
Yeah, I was just like starting with 1 week and ending on When You Dream. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but like such a brilliant arc on that album. But yeah,
Stunt is I would say close to most likely the most perfect album
Yeah.
out there. You know, if you had to list best albums of all time, to me, Stunt is on that list.
I
of
think they
best
1-2
albums.
punched it with Stunt and Maroon. But yes, yeah. Like Stunt and Maroon, I think are both there. Yeah.
I gotta
Any
get
last
going,
thoughts?
guys. But
Okay.
it's good seeing you guys.
Yeah, good
Any
seeing you
last
too,
thoughts
Betsy.
you
Have
got
a
to
good
throw
one.
out there, Betsy?
Nope. Great album. And they did the best they could.
So yeah, that's been our discussion of Born on a Pirate Ship. I hope you come back next week and listen to our discussion of Stunt and whether we decide to reorder that one. You probably already picked up my answer for next week already. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Jeff, Noah,
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Betsy, who is already headed to head out. And thanks. That was
Thank you.
fun.
Have a good night.